Hello, future cadets. I hope all of you are staying safe and studying hard. So, you all have been demanding a session on CAPF Paper 2. So, we have started this series, Learn with Toppers, जहाँ पे हम various successful students को बुलाएंगे who have performed remarkably well in the examinations, and they would be taking sessions on various aspects of the examination, और वो आपको 100% नॉलेज ट्रांसफर करेंगे ताकि आप उन पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक्स में जो वो पढ़ा रहे हैं you also become a master like them on those topics, and you can also perform really well in your upcoming examinations. So today is the first session in that series, and today we have Mr. Shravan Adithya Sir. He is AIR 31 in the UPSC CAPF 2020 exam, and he has scored incredibly well in the CAPF Paper 2. Also, his forte is the essay writing. So today I would hand over the session to him, and he would be sharing nuggets of his wisdom and allowing you to perform really well in the essay paper. Essay, as you all know, accounts for 80% of the CAPF ka paper 2. So if you get great scores in essay, then your score in paper 2 of CAPF is a short thing. So Shravan, मैं आपको request करूंगा कि please join into the session. You can just unmute yourself, and there would be an option to share your screen. So I would request you to just do that. Meanwhile, if you guys have any doubt, please feel free to ask those doubts in the comment section so that students and us, we can also address your doubts. Welcome to the session, Shravan. Thanks a lot for taking the time out for this session.
Thank you for having me, Akshay sir. Good morning to everyone.
So Shravan, I would go on mute and I would go off stream now. The session is yours. You can just share your screen, and then they would be able to listen to you, and they would be posting it in the comments, so you can see that.
Okay. I hope the audio is clear.
Yeah, the audio is clear.
Yeah. Can everyone see my screen as well?
Yeah, they can see. They can see.
Okay. So first of all, good morning to everyone. Good morning to every aspirants out there. I hope you guys are doing well. So before the start of this session, a little bit introduction about me. Since this is our first session, I want to tell a bit about my background. So I am Shravan Adithya, and I have secured All India rank 31 in the recently concluded UPSC CAPF exam in 2020. And this was my first attempt, and I had secured marks of 341, with my score in second paper especially is 114. So I will be sharing my strategy with you and what worked out for me. And I can assure you by the end of this session, I hope to enlighten you on how to choose an essay, how to plan before writing, and how to structure your essay, and certain things which you should avoid before while writing this essay. So Akshay sir had told me that most of you were avoiding a session on this topic, especially essay writing from paper 2. So without any delay, let's jump into today's class. Yes. So first things first, let me tell you a brief background about paper 2. So this is the syllabus for paper 2. As you know, it has two parts. With the first part about essay questions for 80 marks. And the second part, you have comprehension, pre writing, report writing, developing counter arguments, and simple grammar. So this session amounts to around 120 marks. So why is the reason we have two parts? That is because part 1, you can write in both English as well as Hindi. Whereas part B, you can write only in English. Okay, so that's the thing. And the candidates have to answer the questions in the descriptive form. The entire paper 2 is in descriptive form, and the part A can be written in Hindi or English. And the topics, the common topics for the essay are modern Indian history, especially the freedom struggle, and then geography, polity, economy, knowledge of security, human rights issues, and analytical ability. So these are the common areas from which questions are asked by the UPSC. And one more thing that you have to notice, there is no negative marking for paper 2 as it is a descriptive one. So if you have been preparing for CAPF for a long time now, you obviously would have known all of these things. But if you are a beginner, just have a note. So this is how the marks are divided, and this is the brief background. Okay, let's move on. So the first one is about how do I choose the right essays? Okay, things to keep in mind while choosing an essay topic. So most of the students find it difficult doing this first part itself. You are given a choice, as you might know. So here you have to write about 4 essays among 6 given topics in the essay section, and each of the essay is you have to write about 300 words. Okay, so how to choose this essay? So that is the first step. So I'll advise you to keep the following points in mind while choosing an essay topic. The first one is to go through all the given topics carefully. Okay, that should be your first step. You have to read all the 6 given topics, okay, on which you are expected to write an essay thoroughly. Okay, do not make any mistakes. Next, choose a topic about which you are most aware, familiar, and well versed. Only choose a topic if you are absolutely sure of its meaning. Okay, so you must be sure about each and every word given in that topic. So for example, if suppose these 2 are given in your essay topics, like IoT has widened the aspect of internet and has wide applications in different sectors. So suppose this is your essay topic, you must know what IoT stands for. So UPSC from time to time, they might not abbreviate certain things, certain common things. So IoT here stands for Internet of Things. Okay, so it is about how different things can be connected to internet, and how it has widened the aspect of internet, etc. So here, in case you don't understand what IoT stands for, you must definitely skip this topic. But if you have a thorough idea about IoT, about its workings, about its different applications, then you can go for it. Similarly, India's political and strategic concerns associated with China's OBOR initiative. So that could also be there. OBOR, if you don't know what it is, it stands for One Belt, One Road initiative. So if you don't know what it means, you should definitely skip it. Okay, but if you are aware and familiar, and if you're well versed with this topic, then you can go for it. So you cannot take any risks here, because you can definitely not guess what OBOR is in the exam. Okay, if you are not adequately prepared, you cannot go for it. And at certain times, the UPSC will give IT. So it could either stand for income tax, or it could either stand for information technology. Okay, so that could be, if you're not sure about what it stands for, or if you cannot figure it out from the topic given there. Okay, so do not choose the topic. Okay, avoid such topics. So next is choosing a topic that is appropriate to the length of your paper. So like I said, you are writing this essay for 300 words. So you have to be really thorough. You have to cover all the aspects, all the perspectives within that 300 words. Okay, students often pick topics that are too broad to be adequately covered. Narrow topics lead to closer observation, so it might fetch you more marks, while broad topics lead to overgeneralization. So for example, you see here, higher education in India. If that is a topic given to you, then it is too general, right? You can write about how it evolved, how the history behind it, and the different initiatives, the challenges, the problems, and consequences. You can write a lot of things, but you only have 300 words. So you might end up missing out certain important points. Okay, whenever you're writing a generalized, overgeneralized essay, the examiner, he usually looks for certain important keywords. So even though you might have covered a lot of perspectives, you might have left out certain important perspectives which the examiner is particularly looking for. So this might ultimately bring your marks down. Okay, so rather go for a specific topic, go for a narrow topic, something like this: the challenges of remote education. So this is more specific, right? So you just have to think about the challenges of remote education. Okay, you can cover different perspectives: the social challenges, the economic challenges, and the technological challenges. Okay, so those kind of things that you can do here in a more well-versed way, in a more structured way. So what I would advise you to go for a specific topic rather than choosing a general topic. And one more thing to note here is a lot of people can write good general essays. Okay, so when many people opt to write such essays, it obviously brings the marks down, and only if it is exceptionally good, the examiner will put good marks for you. Okay, so that is one advice from me to you. And then avoid a topic that will tempt you to summarize rather than discuss or analyze. Okay, so here what I want to say is, for example, if it is about history of women's rights in India, okay, you are getting a topic like this. So what you are expected to summarize the events. Okay, so here the scope is very limited. You cannot discuss or analyze the women's rights situation in India. You cannot add your own points. So what you are expected to do is you just chronologically state this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, this development happened. So that kind of essay is, it is better to avoid those kind of essays. If you think you can do it in a better way, you can do it in a unique way, then that is fine. Okay, but for a common aspirant, I think it is better to avoid this, because if there is no scope to show your individuality, okay, then it is not worth writing. Okay, because you have a very limited time to impress the examiner. So in that time, if you can spend time on it, on discussing or analyzing rather than just writing down your points, then that should be avoided. Okay, because summarizing anyone can do. For example, if there is an essay about say Jawaharlal Nehru, anyone can write an essay about Jawaharlal Nehru, because anyone will know at least 100 things about Jawaharlal Nehru, from he was born in Allahabad and how he finally ended up becoming the prime minister of the country. So those kind of things anyone can write. But if there is an essay about the critique of Jawaharlal Nehru's foreign policies, then you should take that topic. So you can think about the different topics, the different foreign policies he had, and how you can counter each one of those policies. And you can conclude the essay by saying that Jawaharlal Nehru did best, what he thought was best at that time, and given the limited resources that we had, he chose the best path for us. So that could be an apt conclusion. So those kind of essays could be narrow, could lead to better observation, and it could give you a better fodder for the essay. Okay, moving on. Then try to stay away from contentious topics where personal ideas could be controversial. So that is one more thing. Okay, the examiner expects you to think like an IAS officer or an assistant commandant, so, and not a journalist. So he does not want you to think like a journalist by taking a stand on an issue, but you have to write a more balanced essay. Okay, you should avoid presenting extreme viewpoints. For example, I have given this here. So too much freedom of speech is detrimental to development. So you might feel like too much freedom of speech is actually detrimental to development, because there are constant protests happening here, which is not letting us to develop properly. So those kind of things you might feel on your own, but you cannot agree with this statement 100%. At the same time, you cannot disagree with the statement completely too. Okay, so it is a 50-50. Okay, so freedom of speech is necessary, but at the same time, it should not be absolute. Okay, that should be the middle path that you have to take. So why I have given this example is that, suppose if you are saying that it is absolutely right, or if this statement is absolutely wrong, you will not fetch any good marks. Okay, so your personal ideas should also be balanced. Okay, you have to train yourself like that. So be cautious also when writing on sensitive issues like religion, culture, language, literature, states, etc. For example, if you have an essay like one nation, one language, is it desirable? So this is they are like testing you. Okay, they are like whether you have a balanced opinion or not. Do you think one nation, one language is desirable for India? So that is definitely not desirable. We have a unity in diversity. We have different languages, each have their own history, and people see their language as a part of their culture. So it is not feasible to have one language for India. So you have to structure your essay in such a manner. You have to write your essay, your points in such a manner. So you cannot just go about like accepting that this is good, or accept completely saying this is bad. You when writing sensitive issues, try to keep your personal opinions on the back seat. Okay, uh, write about what is good for the country. Okay, what would be the good for the country, what would be good for the different sections of the population. Go for that. And if they are asking a contentious topic, uh, the hint is to look at the constitution, or you can look at the preamble. Okay, so what preamble says, what kind of a country that the constitution makers wanted India to become. Okay, or what the constitution or the fundamental rights say. So that is a good place to take hints from. So is one nation, one language desirable? No, it's not, because in preamble we talked about brotherhood, we talked about unity. Okay, we talked about fraternity. So having a one language might affect all of these. So that is the reason why it is not desirable. So that could be how you can train your brain to think. Okay, in contentious issues, always go for what the constitution says, what the legal system says. Okay, if our courts, what is the stand of our Supreme Court on this issue? So if you can go like that, you can always avoid giving extreme viewpoints. Okay, and then do not choose a topic about which you have no idea. Okay, if CATSA and its implications on India. So if this is a topic on your essay, you can definitely not write it. If you can definitely not start this essay if you have no idea what CATSA is. Okay, so CATSA stands for Countering American Adversaries Through Sanctions Act. So this is the United States of America's act. So you have to know certain background of this act and what implications it might have on India. So only if you know that, you can do that. Similarly, permaculture, a solution to our agricultural woes. So if this is a given essay topic and if you have no idea about permaculture, then you cannot write it. Do not choose these essays. Do not go about guessing what this could be. Okay, if you do that, the examiner will find out immediately. He can understand whether you have read this topic completely or you are just beating around the bush. Okay, so and if he finds that you are beating around the bush, do not expect any good marks for your essay. Okay, so just go for things which you have absolutely sure of. Okay, do not even try to guess or fool anyone by writing an essay which you have no idea about. Okay, and then finally, pay attention to the form of the question. So how is whether the question is framed? Okay, if it is in a question form is such that what do you think, then you must provide an answer and your opinion. Okay, if a question starts like what do you think about so and so, then it is expected that you give your opinion, your answer, your personal view, at least at the conclusion part. You discuss thoroughly what the topic is about in your body, but at the end of the essay, at the conclusion part, you must give your personal opinion. But if you had ended it vaguely, then you have just written a general essay. You did not answer to the specific question. Okay, suppose this question, like what do you think question, if you are not giving your opinion, then obviously you are missing out. Okay, you are missing out the key requirement of this question. Okay, so that is also something you should avoid. You just pay attention to the form of the question. How is the question asked? Okay, do not just go for this, just underline the keywords and start writing essay on the keywords. Pay attention to the question form also. Okay, moving on. So I think with these the steps that we have seen, I think you can choose your essay. You follow these steps and you choose the best topic for you. Once you've done that, the next logical step is about planning your writing. So how to create a blueprint before you start writing your essay. So that is the next step we are going to see. So once you have selected your topic, so based on the above steps, once you have selected your topic, you should not begin writing your essay right away. You should give yourself some time to think and ponder over the topic that you have to start writing. So do not start writing immediately. So this is, I have given you an example on why it is necessary, why it is important for you to plan your writing. So if you do not think enough before writing, you may end up missing out on some important points, which cannot be added later on. For example, if you are writing about Gandhi's role in Indian independence, suppose that is your essay topic, Gandhi's role in Indian independence. You will start your essay with his work in South Africa, his visit to Champaran, his movement against Rowlatt Act, then launch of non-cooperation movement, Salt March and civil disobedience movement, Quit India movement, his social work, and then his eventual assassination. So this might be the proper chronological structure for your essay. But what will happen if you did not think this, if you did not plan before writing, is that after finished writing all this, you might have realized you forgot to mention Satyagraha. So his novel idea of non-violence. Now you cannot add it later on. So Satyagraha is an important aspect of an important contribution of Gandhiji towards Indian freedom struggle. So all of his movements, be it in Champaran or be it his non-cooperation movement or civil disobedience movement or even his Quit India movement, all of these were based on Satyagraha. So if you fail to mention this word, or if you fail to write a small, at least 2 sentences about Satyagraha, then your essay is incomplete. So from examiner's point of view, he might be looking for certain keywords like this. And if he is seeing that, okay, you have missed this, then obviously you will end up getting less marks. So there is no use of realizing that you have missed some important points after you have completed the essay. That is why I tell you that you plan your essay, plan your writing. Okay, take few minutes. Okay, so to avoid these kind of mistakes, it is suggested that you make a blueprint of your essay in your mind first. Then ensure that you do not forget any point and cover the topic as comprehensively as possible. Okay, so that's what you should do. Do not start right away. Take some time. So here we are going to discuss about how to plan your essay, how to brainstorm the points. So before writing, you give yourself a time of about 3 minutes. At the back of the answer sheet or in the question paper, write in bullet points in short about the topic. So what are the things that you have to write down here? You have to comprehensively cover any topic. Comprehensively cover the topic. You have to holistically cover whatever the essay topic is given for you. So in this time, in this 3 minutes, what you have to do, you brainstorm the content you know about a particular topic. So right after understanding, right after reading the essay topic carefully, you will a lot of ideas will come into your mind. Idea will be flowing in your mind. The this step is about putting those ideas into right words, rearranging those ideas, okay, and also giving a proper starting point and an ending point to your essay. But how to think about this? Okay, how to go about this brainstorming the content? So you can use any of the following approaches. So I personally had 3 approaches. Okay, so once I once I choose an essay topic, I go back to the end of the question paper. Okay, so then I will use this approach, either this approach or this approach or this approach, depending on the essay topic. Okay, 5W and H approach. So here you write about what is it, why, and when, where, who, how. So these are the different topics that you cover in this approach. Okay, you brainstorm your points based on 5W and H approach. You cover what, why, when, where, who, and how. And then the next approach is about looking at it from different perspectives: social, political, economic, legal, and technological. So this is the spelt approach. This is the famous spelt approach. So you can write down your points based on this spelt approach. And finally, you have Eipsc, so which I like to call as East India Public Service Commission. So you can remember this that way. East India Public Service Commission, that is EIPSC. So each of that stands for explanation. E stands for explanation, I stands for implication, P stands for problems, S stands for solutions, and C stands for conclusion. Okay, you choose any of these approaches and brainstorm your points. So let's see how we can do that one by one. So suppose you have a topic like Naxalism in India. Okay, so you can use 5W and H approach for this topic. What is Naxalism? Why Naxalism started its place in India? What is the reason? That is the why part. Okay, when? So when did this Naxalism movement start in India? Okay, and what is the history behind it? So that aspect will be covered in when, and then where. So Naxal movement started the Naxalbari village in West Bengal. So that is the where part, and who are involved in this topic. So mainly the people from the Red Corridor, the tribal population, who feel they are very backward in development. So that is the who part, and then how. So and under how you can write about how this movement has spread, or how the government is taking steps to control this movement. So in this way, you cover all the aspects related to the Naxalism in India. So what, why, when, where, who, and how. So that gives a holistic approach towards a essay topic. And this is how you have to brainstorm your point. You think about what, you write a 1 point. You think about why, you write 1 point. You think about where. So when you are writing this essay, each of these points should be elaborated upon, and each of that should become like a paragraph. Okay. And finally, how, and you end it with a positive conclusion. Okay, so that's how you can plan your essay. And then the next one is the growing intolerance in the world. So for this topic, I take spelt approach. Okay, the growing intolerance in the world. So that is a very wide topic. So first you talk about the social intolerance that is happening. That is, as a society, how we are becoming more and more intolerant, and how xenophobia is taking place, how we are not ready to welcome the people who are very different from us. Okay, so that could be seen the examples. You can also state examples like how the migrants, there were some attacks against migrants from North India in South India. So those kind of things are social intolerance. And then there is also political intolerance. That is, politics is a big place where intolerance is fuming. We are seeing political leaders who are giving intolerant speeches, people who are saying that a certain section of people should be restricted or should be kept at the lower form of social hierarchy itself. So those kind of politics is also one of the reasons behind this growing intolerance. And then economical aspects of intolerance, how different types of inequality is there, how the rich is intolerant towards the needs of the poor people. We are seeing people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. They are talking about life in Mars. They are talking about space exploration, space tourism. Okay, a lot of money is spent towards space tourism. It is a booming industry. But at the same time, we have to think about the people who do not have enough food to fend themselves. Okay, they do not have enough clothing. They do not have shelter. Okay, so that is also one kind of intolerance. And then legal angle. So what are the legal safeguardings that we have towards this intolerance? But there is also some shortfalls. For example, we do not have any laws to control mob lynching. Okay, suppose a mob takes the lives, if a mob attacks a single individual, okay, suspecting him of something, and if they kill him, we do not have enough laws to arrest all the people. We do not have, there is a big lacunae there. Okay, mob lynching as well as vigilantism. So these are all, we do not have proper laws to address these things. So this is a place where we need to improve ourselves. We need to look at how other countries are doing better from a legal standpoint. So that could be one. perspective, and finally, technological perspective, technology-driven intolerance. Okay, there is a huge digital divide between the rich and the poor, and between the urban people and the rural people. So that technology is helping. The technology is increasing the intolerance. You can also quote the medias, like social media, how trolling is happening. Okay, indiscriminate trolling, and people are taking revenge against someone in using technology, right? Okay, revenge porn or whatever you can think about in the technological perspective. Okay, social media is a place where people are growing more and more intolerant day by day. Okay, so this is how you holistically brainstorm points for your essay. Okay, so this is the second approach, that is the spelt approach. And next one is about e-learning, that is, let me just erase some of these things. So e-learning is the future of education. So that is, here you have you can use EIPIC, EIPSC. Okay, you just, first one is about explanation. You explain what e-learning is. Okay, what is e-learning? E-learning is about remote learning or using digital methods for learning. Okay, and digital tools. So that is the explanation. So what is the implication, or what is the consequences of adopting e-learning throughout the country? Okay, what are the different areas which will have affect, how different people will get affected? So that is the implication part, that is the consequences part. Next comes the problems. Okay, so adopting e-learning throughout the country, what are the problems we have? Okay, in certain areas, in rural areas, we do not have internet connection itself, right? That is a problem. We do not have digital literacy, so parents cannot help their students with their work if it is e-learning, because the parents are used to using pen and paper. They are used to normal book methods of learning. But e-learning is something, is a place where even the parents cannot help their students. And e-learning obviously needs some kind of digital infrastructure, some kind of digital tools like a tablet or a mobile phone, a working internet connection, and a knowledge about working internet connection. So those kind of digital divide, so those things are the problems. Okay, and even the investment in e-learning itself, it is a huge investment is needed. So that might whether the government have enough funds to do that infrastructure, the digital infrastructure, that is also a question. Okay, the quality is a question, accessibility is a question, availability is a question, and whether the teachers have enough knowledge towards adopting new e-learning methods. So that is also a problem. So these are the different problems. The moment you start to think about problems, all these problems should come into your mind. So for that only you are preparing. So all the things that you are reading, you have to organize it in this way. Okay, and then you go to solution. So you have talked about the problems. So for each problem, you have to think about a solution. So for teachers problem, we can give teacher training. For digital internet connection, lack of internet connection, we have to provide internet connection to every gram panchayat. So you can have solutions parallel to each and every problems. And then at the end of the essay, you write a conclusion on whether you think e-learning is the future of education. You see here, there is a question mark. So what is you feel? Okay, you feel, but you do not write it in first person or second person. You have to write, okay, based on these above arguments, I feel that, like, based on this above arguments, it can be concluded that e-learning is the future of education, and we have to take so and so steps to adopt e-learning and benefit in a better way. So that kind of conclusion you can give it. So this is the EIPSC approach. So if you want to remember this mnemonics, this is the way: East India Public Service Commission. Okay, so that's how you can remember it. So EIPSC stands for explanation, implication, problem, solution, and conclusion. So that is one other way to brainstorm your points. So what you have to do, you take 3 minutes after choosing a topic. You take 3 minutes, you go to the end of your answer sheet, you choose any of these approach, okay, and then you write down your points in such a way. Okay, if you have 2 points for social, you write it first. If you have 2 points for political, you write it then. Okay, then economical. So similarly, you do for all of you take any one of these approach and you apply it for an essay topic. Okay, now the raw material for your essay is ready. That is, the blueprint is ready. So the only thing left for you is now structuring your essay and start writing your essay. So that's the next step. Okay, so we'll see what all we can do next. So organizing the points brainstormed into your essay. So now you have done a lot of additions, subtractions, everything is done in your rough work itself. Now you have to structure your essay and you have to organize the points brainstormed so far, and you have to incorporate it in the essay in a coherent form. Okay, that's this stage. So structuring the essay. An essay ideally should have an introduction, body, and conclusion. But I'm telling you, you do not have to write introduction and then write your introduction, body, and then write your body. So that is not needed. That is definitely a wrong way. The first paragraph which you are writing, that is introduction by default. And similarly, the last paragraph which you are writing is also the conclusion. It is understood. Okay, you do not have to write this is introduction, a semicolon, and then write your introduction. Okay, that is a very primary school format. Okay, that is not needed. You go for the first paragraph goes for introduction, last goes for conclusion, and whatever you are writing in between is the body. Okay, so the basic template is that introduction, body, and conclusion. So now start answering the essay after the introduction using one of the approaches we seen earlier and incorporate it. Okay, so we have all the points now. Okay, and all those points should come into the body of the essay. And before that, you have to write an introduction. So if you can also just leave some space for introduction and directly go to your body if you feel like you can think about introduction in a later time. Okay, at the end of after writing the essay also you can write your introduction. Okay, now look at the rough work again and again to keep yourself on track. So whatever points you have jolted down at the end of the paper, you just go and refer it again and again so that you do not forget anything. Okay, all the points that you thought about or incorporated into the essay, and then make use of good connective and transition words in and between each paragraph. This makes your essay readable and gives a good flow. So we are going to see about these connective and transition words, what they are and how to use them. Okay, so this is very important to ensure that there is a good flow, there is a good coherence between your last paragraph and the next paragraph. Okay, so you see here introduction, a 1 to 2 sentence introduction, a crisp one, a to the point introduction is needed, and it is always advisable that you include the keywords in the question here. In the introduction part itself, you must include, if they are talking about e-learning in the essay topic, then the introduction should have that e-learning word in that. If they are talking about Naxalism, the word should be present in your essay in the introduction. Okay, you just need a 2 or 3 sentence introduction for around 30 to 40 words. Introduction is good. Okay, and then you include keywords there. Then for body you have to go paragraph wise. Okay, do not write in point format. This is an essay. Okay, just write in paragraph format. Suppose you're going for spelt approach, you take social perspective for one paragraph, political perspective for next paragraph, economic perspective for one paragraph, and so on. Okay, so the body should contain specific ideas presented in a clear and coherent manner. Each broad idea or idea set would form a paragraph. It requires logical coherence and flow. You must adhere to sentence structure, vocabulary, idiom that you are familiar with. Okay, you just have to use the things you are familiar with. Do not try to form new sentences or complicated words at the exam area. Okay, things which you have read so far or the style that you are used to. So use those kind of things. Do not try anything new here in the body area. And then finally, you have to give a suitable conclusion. And this conclusion should be based on the arguments you wrote in the essay. You cannot introduce a new point in the conclusion suddenly. Okay, the conclusion should be like a short summary, or it can be drawn from the arguments that you have given in the body. You cannot write something totally different from what you have talked so far. So that is also one mistake that you can avoid here. Okay, now let's continue with this structuring. Now I'll tell you how to connect different paragraphs in the body, about how to write a good introduction and how to write a good conclusion. That is something we will see next. But before that, I'll try. Yes, we'll start with introduction part. How to write a good introduction. So we saw the three different structure, and the first part is introduction, and I have three suggested ways for you that you can use. Okay, the how I went about writing an introduction, I'll tell you that. The first one is definition form, the next one is data driven form, the next one is a quote. So these are three ways through which you can start an essay. I have like a look at this example here. Ensuring social justice is a human right. So here this is definition form. So definition form, here you can write social justice means a fair and just relationship between individual and society. In simple terms, social justice refers to justice in terms of distribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges within a society. It aims to meet the challenge of socio-economic inequality by rule of law. Okay, see this? Okay, I have used three sentences, simple words, very crisp and to the point, and I have mentioned the keyword here, social justice. Okay, so basically ensuring social justice is a human right is my essay topic. So this was actually asked in your 2020 CAPF paper. Okay, this is a previous year question. So in introduction, I defined what social justice is. Okay, similarly, Naxalism in India, that is a good topic. So for that, you can go by definition. Okay, that is an essay. You can use the definition of Naxalism in your introduction. So that will be definitely to the point, crisp, and it will be a good introduction for that essay. And then a data-driven introduction. Data-driven introduction. For example, you have an essay on the fight for gender equality in India. Okay. So for that, an apt introduction could be, in the recently released World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Report 2021, India has slipped 28 places to rank 140 among 156 countries, becoming the third worst performer in South Asia. The country's development potential will remain unmet if half of its citizens are excluded. Okay, you see how I have used the data that I know. I have taken a report on gender equality. So the question is about gender equality. So I have taken a report on gender equality, and I have shed some light on it about India's rank and how India has performed poorly, and how India must do a lot to meet the India's development potential. So this is a data-driven introduction. For example, suppose you have an essay on tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is still a big challenge for India to eradicate. Suppose you have an essay topic like that, you can just say that India hosts more than 50% of the population affected by tuberculosis in the world. Okay, that could be your introduction. So this introduction should catch the attention of the reader. So when you write an informed introduction, it shows that you are very well prepared and you know the statistics and you know what you're talking about. And going into the body, the examiner will have a better opinion about you, and this can definitely fetch you good marks. The data-driven introduction. Okay, and then like time-tested thing, a very classical way to start an essay through quotes. Okay, suppose for example you have a quote like the urgent need for global action to combat climate change. So this is your essay topic. So what could be a good introduction? So this Ban Ki-moon's quote, look at here, climate change does not respect border. It does not respect who you are, rich or poor, small or big. Therefore, it is what we call global challenges which require global solidarity. So this is an introduction which you can start for this topic specifically, because this topic also talks about global action, about everyone in the world coming together to combat climate change. So if you give an introduction like this, and if you think, if you know who said that specifically, then you can write it as the person's name. If you don't know, you just write anonymous. Okay. So what this kind of approach tells the examiner that you have understood the theme of this topic specifically. Okay, since you are doing it with a quote, the examiner can understand, okay, you have got the point. Okay, you have got what the essay is looking for. Okay, so but I advise you to go for a quote which is relevant to the essay. You just cannot write anything as a quote in introduction. It should be relevant to the topic. It should be a calling to the central theme of that topic. Okay, so do not write anything, any other quotes which is irrelevant to the given topic. Only if you know a quote, if you are sure about all its wordings, and if you are sure about who said it, go for this quote-based introduction. And after writing this, you can say that realizing the importance of global action, Ban Ki-moon had said these words, and we have to take certain steps to make it a reality. So something like that could be your introduction. Okay. So that's all from my side. Okay, so I have given you like 3 suggested ways, anything you can choose. And if you are seeing a topic, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? So based on that, you can choose any of these suggested ways. Okay, and then our introduction is done now. Okay, let's move on to the body. So writing body. So I have given you some general introductions. Okay, so the body should resonate with the topic given. You do not stray away from the topic merely to fill the word count. So some people, what they do is they totally deviate from what is asked in the question, in the body part. So that is not advisable. And when you are following any of the approach, like a 5WH approach or SPELT or EIC, EIPSC, so when you are following any of these approach, you will definitely not stray away from the topic. So that is why we have these kind of approaches. Okay, we should not stray away from that. So it should be, the body should be multidimensional. So our approaches in all of these approaches take care of that. Do not have a single viewpoint, analyze the topic from different perspectives. Yes, for example, in SPELT, we have multiple perspectives that could help you in writing this body. It should be simple and effective. It should be grammatically perfect, and there should also be a clarity in what you are talking about. Okay, if it is not grammatically perfect, the examiner will not feel like it. Okay, you need not use the best of language. You need not use the toughest of vocabulary. You are not expected to have a queen's language. You are expected to just make your point and make it understandable to the other person. Okay, that is the minimum expected of you. So having simple sentences is good. Having a grammatically perfect, effective sentences is good. So go for it. And it should also be neat. Do not strike out or do not overwrite frequently in your essay. Okay, so that is why we are telling you to plan your essay. So planning, good amount of time has to go into planning. So why do people strike out and overwrite? Because they feel like they missed out a point, or they have done some mistakes. They do that. But if you plan your essay by allocating some 3 minutes before the essay, you can definitely write your neat essay. Okay. So think about what you want to write before you start writing. And there should be continuity in your essay. Do not jump from one point to another. Make your shift seamless and smooth. So even in this approach, even in, for example, a SPELT approach, the transition should be seamless and smooth. You cannot just talk about social angle in one point and immediately start political angle on the next point. You need to use connectors. Okay, connectors are certain words about which we will see in the next slide. So those connectors has to be used perfectly to ensure that there is connectivity and coherence in your essay. Okay, there should be natural flow of points. So this will indicate that you are thinking with clarity. Okay, It can contain quotes. Even in the body, you can write quotes. Body, it is not like you should use quotes only in the introduction or conclusion. You can use it in your body if you feel like it is relevant. And you can use diagrams like flow charts, okay, tree diagrams. Suppose you want to write different things, okay, you can use a tree diagram, or you can use a flow chart, okay. So whatever you feel like, you can do it, and but it should be structured appropriately. It should be relevant, okay. Now let's look at the different connectors, how to connect different paragraphs, how to maintain coherence in your essay. So here you see logical connectives between paragraphs. There are certain words that you have to use when you're moving from one paragraph to other. So at the start, once you are done with your introduction, you can start this way to begin with, okay, and then you start your essay, and then you start your first point in your body. So that would be a good way to start. You can also say first of all, and then write your point. This is the first sentence of your body I'm talking about, the first paragraph of your body. So that's how you could start, okay. First of all, this so and so, okay. So that's a good point to start. And then sequencing. So this is also a good way to start. Once you've done your introduction, you say firstly, and you write something, okay, what happened. For example, in 5WH approach, firstly, okay, once you Naxalism is about, okay, that is your what. Secondly, the movement is spread in different corridors, different areas. And thirdly, and then you give another coherent topic. You talk about when it started. So those kind of things, you can use these words and you sequence the different paragraphs. So this could be the first word of your first paragraph, second word of your second paragraph, first word of your second paragraph, and this is how you can start your third paragraph, okay. So you can also use following this, or consequently, next, hence. So these kind of words could be used, and adding. So for example, if you have 2 points in the social perspective itself, if you can think of 2 points, okay, and you write one idea in one paragraph and in second idea in the second paragraph, and if you feel like the first paragraph and the second paragraph are completely different, you can use words like this, further, okay, further, or moreover. So it gives a flow. So the this word will ensure that will give an opinion that to the examiner that, okay, you are going to talk about a different thing in this paragraph, okay, or in addition. So that is also something, okay, you are going to talk about something different in this paragraph, so something new is coming up. So that kind of feeling will it will give to the examiner, okay. Similarly, or besides, so these kind of words can be used. And sometimes you feel like the first you have written some point, you have given some argument in the first paragraph, in the next paragraph you are going to counter it, okay. You have given an argument first, and in the next paragraph you have a counter argument. Then you can use words like yet or however, okay. If you use however, it sends a signal that you are going to negate what you had said earlier, okay. You have talked about the positives of e-learning. Suppose, say, you have talked about the positives of e-learning, but you start the next paragraph about however, then it obviously gives an opinion that you are going to talk about the challenges of the e-learning, okay, right. So you cannot just, in the body you cannot write subheadings, okay, like challenges, okay, merits. So those kind of things you cannot do. Even in Eipsc approach, you explain it, you say implication, you cannot put like problems or challenges are being put a like that, you cannot write, okay. You cannot write these kind of, you cannot give subheadings inside the essay topic. Essay has to be in a paragraph format. So since you cannot do that, you use words like this, however, okay, nevertheless, okay, or in spite of, okay. You can write like, in spite of e-learning has having this much potential, the problems with e-learning include, and then you write about the different problems, okay. So for exception, you can use these kind of words. For contrasting, again, so you are going to say something different from the previous paragraph, you can use these kind of words also. On the other hand, okay, on the other hand, you start a paragraph with that wording, or however, or again, whereas, or in contrast, or on the contrary. So these kind of words can be used. And similarly, while giving examples, if you have to give examples, that is very advisable. Relevant examples in relevant spaces makes your answer very rich. It makes the examiner follow your answer in a better way. So I advise you to give 2 or 3 examples for every essay. Okay. For example, while talking about the growing intolerance in the country, so about that, you can talk about how the migrants example, the migrants who there were attacks on migrants, and another example could be the social media trolling, where everyone is going out there abusing females, abusing family members of certain celebrities and all. So those kind of examples you can give it. So for examples, so you cannot write a for example, you cannot keep repeating the same word every time. So that gives like you are short on words. Okay, that gives the impression that okay, you just know these words. But instead, you can use you can write different things. For first example, you can write for example, and then for the next example you can write for instance, or you can write a good example of this would be the recent happening that happened in Bangalore or something like that. Okay, an appropriate illustration of this is, and then you write your point. You can also write like take the case off. Okay, so that these are things which are very small items, but this will definitely enrich your answer. This will definitely fetch you more marks. Okay, and finally generalizing. So generalizing is something that you do in your conclusion part, okay, or the paragraph before conclusion, okay, at the end of the final paragraph of the body. So that is where you generalize all the points. You have given arguments, counter arguments, you have discussed about problem solutions, suggestions, everything. And finally, in the generalizing part, you write on the whole, e-learning has this much advantages, but at the same time, the disadvantages cannot be overlooked. Okay, government steps have to be taken to ensure that education remains accessible to all the sections of the population. So something like that. Okay, you can start it with on the whole, or in general, or broadly speaking, in most cases, or to a large extent. So these kind of words could ensure that connectivity between paragraphs. And then analyzing a point. So suppose you have given a point, and in the next paragraph you are going to analyze that point. You can use words like what this means is, in other words, or translated into real terms. Okay, like that. So we talked about that quote-based introduction, right? The Ban Ki-moon introduction for that global action for climate change. So in that, once you've given your quote, you can write the next sentence could start like, what this means is, okay, or what Ban Ki-moon tries to say here is, okay. So something like that, you can start your next paragraph. So that the quote and the next paragraph has some connectivity. And then if you want to emphasize on, you can use these words. And for summarizing and concluding, you can use these words like to conclude, or to sum up, or to as a result, okay, or on the whole, again in conclusion. So these kind of words could be used. Okay, most of the people, what they follow is they have multiple ideas, okay, but they do not connect it with one another in the body. So that's why when I see a lot of the aspirants paper, so I feel like, okay, points are good, but there is no flow in the essay. Okay, so they are going to look at flow, they are going to look at the coherence, because you are an officer, you have to talk coherently. You cannot just talk randomly. Random points are not needed. Even if an essay, if you are talking a speech, it has to be coherent. You have to take a cue from the last point you ended and start a new point. And then again, you have to end it with something, and the next point should take a cue from the last point. So that's how you have to approach the essay part as well. Okay. Now we are done with the body part. Okay, you use one of those approaches, the brainstorming approaches, and then you use logical connectives and you write in a paragraph format. So that brings us to the end of the body section. The next is conclusion. So again, writing conclusion, we have 3 suggested ways. Okay, so in the earlier part, for introduction also we saw 3 suggested ways. In conclusion also there are 3 different ways. So first one is you can give a suggestion or way forward in your conclusion. You can conclude with a suggestion or a way forward. For example, we have a question like India's coastal security in changing scenarios. Okay, this is your essay topic. So you write your introduction, you write your body, and in conclusion, what you can write is, due to rapid growth of India as an economic power, its all-around security from all sides is the need of the hour. Okay, coordination, convergence from all stakeholders, and an integrated approach is essential to make our coastal security more robust. Okay, basically we are giving a suggestion here, that is, coordination has to be there, convergence has to be there between all stakeholders, and this will make our system more robust. Okay, and the security is the need of the hour. Okay, those kind of suggestions on way forwards we are giving in the conclusion. So this will be an apt conclusion for this topic, right? I hope you are following me. Okay, the next step, the next way to conclude, to give a conclusion would be to list down government steps. Okay, so for example, skilling the youth of India. Okay, you talk about how important it is in the body, and you talk about the different, you can go for Eipsc approach here. Eipsc approach here. Okay, and you can write your body, and in the conclusion what you can do is you can list the government steps taken in this towards skilling the youth of India. In recent times, many skill development programs like Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, Skill India campaign, Udan scheme have been launched. With the right planning and efforts of the government, India will emerge as the knowledge capital of the world with huge skilled manpower. So here also I have written 2 sentences, okay, around 30 words each. So this will be an apt conclusion here. So in the conclusion part, I am mentioning about the steps taken by the government in recent times. Okay, the realizing the importance of skilling, or you can start the sentence like this, to start the conclusion like this. So realizing the importance of skilling for Indian youth, the government has launched these schemes recently. Okay, you can do that. Okay, so the government steps based conclusion could also be one other way. And finally, again, quote based conclusion. So for example, poverty is the worst form of violence. Okay, so this is also a previous year question. So here, according to Amartya Sen, in the conclusion part, after you're done with the body, in the conclusion part, according to Amartya Sen, the purpose of the development is to enrich human lives, not richness of economy, which is only a part of it. Okay, so what he is basically saying is, we need to enhance the capabilities of the poor rather than just improving the riches in the economy. So that is what Amartya Sen is saying. And you write this quote, and then you finally write, to eradicate poverty, we should align our poverty reduction programs on the lines of Mr. Sen's vision. Okay, so with that you can conclude your essay. So you just cannot leave it with a quote, you have to explain that quote, and only after that your essay will end. Okay, you do not just go around and write a quote and finish it. Write a quote, explain it also. Okay, so why that quote is important to this essay, you have to give that point also. Here we have given that Mr. Sen's vision, to realize Mr. Sen's vision, the government has to align their programs towards his wordings. Okay, so that is how you conclude an essay. Okay, I hope all the 3 different things are making sense to you. Okay, we have seen 3 different ways of writing introduction. We have seen 3 different ways of brainstorming points for your body, and then we have also seen 3 different ways towards concluding your essay. So if you get all of these right, then nobody can stop you from getting good marks in your essay. Okay, after that, I just want to talk about certain mistakes that you have to avoid while writing introduction, body, and conclusion. Okay, so there are certain common mistakes committed by the students here. The first one is avoid writing in first and second person. Okay, you do not write about use words like I, you, and all in your essay. You have to write in third person. Okay, for example, based on the above arguments, I conclude that it should not come. So based on the above arguments, it can be concluded that. So that's how you have to write. Or based on the above arguments, one can conclude that. Or based on the above arguments, a person can conclude that. So that's how you should write. Okay, this is the wrong format. So this is the right format. Similarly, I think the justice system should treat all defendants equally. I think so. Even if they have asked about, okay, your opinion, you should not write it like I think or my opinion is that. So those kind of words should not be used. You write the justice system should treat all defendants equally. Okay, if you write like this itself, the examiner will understand this is your view. Okay, you don't have to write like I think or in my opinion. If you write this itself, the examiner will understand, okay, this is your opinion. Okay, fine. Okay, that's how they'll feel. Okay, do not use I and all. And the next one is you should not have to be rich to afford a decent lawyer. So you should not you do not use that one. Instead, use one should not have to be rich to afford a decent lawyer. Okay, a person should not have to be rich to afford a decent lawyer. So this is the right way. Okay, so in your body or in your conclusion, wherever you're writing it, always write in third person. Avoid writing in first and second person. Okay, and also in formal writing, do not use contraction. So this is another problem that I see a lot of you are making. Okay, you spell those out like do not, don't. There is no don't in writing. In written English, there is no don't, there is no can't, there is no isn't. Okay, you write do not, cannot, is not. So that's how you write a formal essay. Okay, if people see this, if you are very most of you I know are very addicted to texting. So in texting you use don't, can't, right? It is okay, those kind of things you use, but you cannot do that in formal writing. This is an exam conducted by UPSC. You are expected to be very formal as possible in these written examination. Okay, so use these things, avoid this. And there is also its and its is very commonly confused. So this is possessive version, that is India and its neighbors. Okay, so here it stands for apostrophe. When you use an apostrophe, it stands for it is. Okay, it is good. For that you can say it's good. Okay, it's your phone. It's your phone. For that you can write it this way, but you cannot use this version ITS without an apostrophe here. Okay, it's good. It's your phone. Okay, because the meanings are different for different things. Okay, it is a possessive version. It apostrophe S stands for it is. Okay, the same thing goes for U apostrophe RE and YOUR. Okay, so your is again possessive version. So your phone, your notebook, okay, your computer, your mouse. So that is your. This is you are. You are. So that is abbreviated as this version. Okay, that is contracted as U apostrophe RE. So you are sick. Okay, you are good. You are excellent in writing an essay. Okay, you are improving. So those kind of, for that you use this version. Okay, so it is better to always go for non-contracted version than using contracted version, and do not confuse between words like this also. Okay, then I also want to tell you that you should not be too forceful or prejudicial, okay, in your essays, right? like I told you, in sensitive topics like one nation, one language, okay, or whether freedom of speech is needed or not, or whether censorship is needed or not. Okay, for those things, do not be too forceful. Okay, they are expecting you to become an officer. Okay, you should have an officer mindset. You should have balanced viewpoints. You cannot favor one side over the other completely. Okay, that is not right way to approach. And if you feel like your personal view is too prejudicial and it might show in your essay, avoid that essay. Okay, go for other topic. Okay, so that is the best way. And in your writing, avoid being pessimistic. The UPSC is looking for officers who are positive and constructive. Okay, do not take a very pessimistic tone. Okay, the situation is very bad. It is not. We cannot solve it, or no one can solve it. So that is a pessimistic attitude. It is a lazy attitude. We want people. UPSC wants people who are go-getters. Okay, people who will do positive things. People will who have a good mindset. Okay, for example, if you are going to write a sentence like this, corruption can never be eliminated in India as people are greedy in general. Okay, so this is a very prejudicial statement. You are saying corruption, nothing can eliminate corruption. Okay, and even though it is true, okay, corruption can never be fully eliminated. Everyone knows that. Even the examiner knows that. UPSC knows that. But they are still asking a question on corruption to see what you think about it. What you think are the ways could be that can be done to reduce corruption. So in that place, if you write a statement like this, you come out as a pessimistic guy. You come out as someone who have a negative attitude. Okay. Instead, you can write the same point like this. Corruption cannot be completely eradicated from any society, but it can be significantly mitigated. Okay. So you're again saying the same thing, that it cannot be completely eradicated, but it can be significantly mitigated. That is, it can be significantly reduced. We can take some steps. Okay, so this is a positive sentence. Okay, here you're being too pessimistic. Okay, nothing can be done. Okay, nobody can help India. So this statement is like that. But here it can be significantly mitigated, and then you go on to discuss the different ways in which you can mitigate it. So that would give a positive opinion of you towards the examiner. Okay, so avoid being pessimistic, always be optimistic. Writing in points should be avoided. Okay, I have told you this already. You have to write in paragraph format. You do not put any subheadings. Okay, do not put introduction, conclusion, and all. Okay, you just keep writing in paragraphs. You're not required to agree with the question's position. A question can also be a remark that expresses a certain point of view. You can include both good and bad parts of it in your writing. For example, you have an essay topic like self-reliance, a threat to globalization. Okay, this is a statement type. Okay, you just do not have to. You are not expected to agree with this statement. Okay, you can criticize this. You can even criticize this topic. No, it is not like that. Self-reliance is not a threat to globalization. Self-reliance means going Atmanirbhar, means having a energy security, like nutritional food security. So those kind of securing ourselves. Self-reliance is about securing ourselves. So it is not a threat to globalization. So that kind of points you can also give in your body. Okay, you do not have to blindly agree with it and go about like praising self-reliance or praising this globalization. Okay, you have to have a balanced approach, and the balanced approach is about agreeing with the statement as well as disagreeing with the statement to some extent. So 50-50 approach is what always desired. Okay, 50% you agree with the statement, 50% you disagree with the statement. And then don't digress much from the central theme. So that you already know, okay, you have to keep your content relevant, you have to keep everything coherent, and even the quotes that you use or even the diagrams that you plan on drawing in the essay, do not do not stray away from the central theme. Okay, just keep relevant things. You remember you have only 300 words. If you have 1000 or 1200 words, okay, then you can digress much. You can try to involve a lot of stuff. Okay, but here we have 300 words. Everything that we have to say has to be on point. Okay, we have to be crisp on every paragraph, on everything we write. Okay, so don't digress and lose some valuable space and time in your essay. So if you do that, you might miss out certain important points. Okay, you would have written a lot of irrelevant things, whereas important things would have no space to write. So that is something that you should avoid. So that's everything from me. Okay, I hope you guys have now a better understanding about how to choose an essay, how to plan your essay, and how to structure and write your essay. Okay, so some piece of advice from me on the preparation front, on how to prepare. So this the art of essay writing is not something that can be learned in a day or two. Okay, you have to practice a lot. If you want to become a dancer, you have to practice dancing. Or if you want to become a swimmer, you have to practice swimming. So if you want to become good at writing, you have to write. Okay, that is the only way. There is no shortcut here. Okay, this, if you want to master answer writing or essay writing, it requires a lot of effort over a long period of time. So first of all, I would like you to we saw how to write an answer, but before that, you have to prepare for essay. You have to prepare. You have to create content. Okay, first creating content or analyzing content is more important. For that, I would advise you to develop a reading habit, especially reading the editorials of say Times of India or the Hindu or the New Indian Express. You can do if you're approaching essay writing in English, you can read those stuff. But if you are writing it in Hindi, then you can go for Dainik Jagran and Dainik Hindustan. Okay, those kind of newspapers. You read editorials in those two, Hindi editorials. Okay, have a command over the language. It doesn't. Essay is not about which language you're writing. Whatever language you choose, be formal, be coherent, be effective in whatever language you write that essay. But for that, you need to read a lot. Okay, you read Times of India, Hindu. So the articles there are around 1,200 words. So once you read that much stuff, okay, regularly, you will understand how the coherence is maintained. Okay, how the continuity is maintained throughout the editorial, and then as you read more and more, in subconsciously gets registered in your mind, and when you write also, it will come out. Okay, and then you can also read articles from magazines like Frontline magazine, Yojana, Kurukshetra. Okay, and watch television shows related to current affairs on Doordarshan, Sansad TV, and various other news channels. So you see how they're talking. Okay, what are the points they are putting forward. Okay, once you listen to a topic, for let's say if you are listening to a debate over 30 minutes, you go back, you take your pen and paper, and you write a summary of the debate. Okay, you write a summary of what you had seen in the last 30 minutes. Okay, once you these things will be really helpful while gathering points. Okay, we talked about writing in spelt approach. Okay, but you need points for each and everything, right? So this is the things I have taught you is about how to write an essay. So what to write in an essay is something for which you have to prepare on your own. For that only, you have to read these articles. Okay, read Frontline and Yojana, and you can also watch debates, and more importantly, you have to go through previous year's topics. For essay, you look at what is the trend. Okay, what is UPSC asking, and why they asked that, because whether it was something that happened very recently. Okay, for example, they could ask a question about NEP, that is National Education Policy, in your essay. Okay, in 2020 it was a very famous topic. Okay, so those kind of things. What is burning? What is the burning issue right now? Okay, you can expect questions from that. One nation, one election is a burning topic right now. That is after the end of the 5 state elections. Everyone is talking about one nation, one election on TV channels, on debates. Okay, suppose if UPSC were to conduct an exam in, let's say, 10 or 15 days from now, that topic could be asked. Okay, you can expect that topic to come. And also, while you are preparing regularly these editorials, you will understand what are the issues that are going on in India. Okay, so you don't have to rely on some other person saying, okay, these are the most important topics for this year. Okay, you don't have to rely on somebody. You yourself know, because what are all being talked in the newspaper is the burning issue. Okay, and UPSC refers to newspapers for taking their questions. So once you read the editorials, you are already well versed in most of the topics which are relevant to your preparation. Okay, so you can just read these stuff. You do not have to rely on anybody for predictable topics or predicted topics. Okay, you can just go about it, approach the exam, and write your points. Okay, then one can begin with well-known topics so that you can write naturally. So when you are starting essay writing for the first time, you start with your well-known topics which you feel comfortable. Suppose if you are a history major, write an essay on freedom struggle. Okay, suppose if you are doing mass communication, then you write an essay about social media and its problems, or you write an essay about fake news, how to tackle fake news. So those kind of things you can do, right? So you start with your well-known topic which you think you know a lot of things about, and then you come to structuring. Okay, you write you think about introduction, you think about conclusion, and you think about what would be the best body for it. Okay, and after each essay, read it like a reader and you will automatically get the shortcomings. So once you have completed your essay, you read it yourself. Okay, what is something you feel you missed it? Okay, what is something you feel you could have done better? Okay, so incorporate that in the next essay. So that's how you self-improve. Okay, you also have to self-reflect on everything you write. Okay, you can also go to experts for evaluation, and you can get their feedbacks, but at the same time self-evaluate your essays by yourself, because since you are reading different articles by now, you will know, okay, that the quality of that article and the quality of your writing, you can compare it and you feel like what are the things you need to improve. Okay, you do that and improve it, and finally improve your handwriting and present your essay in a convincing manner. So that is also their handwriting importance, even though there is not much importance given to handwriting, but people with good handwriting definitely get those extra 4-5 marks, because it shows that they are very patient writers. They could do it in a more convincing manner than a person who is having a very illegible handwriting. So have a legible, neat handwriting, and do not try to strike out much while you write. Okay, so that's the reason we tell you to plan before writing. So that's it from my side, and I would like to take questions from you. And I don't know if it is possible, like if you can give your questions on your chat, from your chat I can take questions. Yes, Akshay sir.
I guess I'm audible now.
Yes.
Yeah. So, guys, if you have any questions, please shoot them in the comments so that Shravan can address those questions. The session was very comprehensive, so Shravan has covered majority of the things that are important for the exam. So, what you now just need to do is just implement whatever has been taught to you, because the most important component now is executing what has been taught. So if you are able to execute all of that, then you would definitely come out with flying colors. So Shravan, a few of the doubts have been asked, so let's quickly address them. पहला एक डाउट है श्रवण, that whether we should be optimistic or realistic.
Yeah, you have to find a balance between in the first, be realistic in your body part, but in the conclusion part I would advise you to go optimistic. Whatever problem you're talking about, be it corruption or be it unsolvable problems, something like let's say artificial intelligence taking a lot of jobs, so those kind of topics, in those topics you have to go optimistic. At the end of the conclusion, you have to say, even though artificial intelligence might absorb a lot of jobs, there are new opportunities coming. Okay, the structure or the paradigm of employment will change, but there is a positive aspect to that also. So that's how you can end it. So ending has
Another
to be
doubt,
optimistic.
Shravan, is please go ahead.
Yeah, we'll move to the next question.
Okay, so next is, sir, when I sit to write anything, I feel I have content, but at the time of writing, I feel blank and I don't know where to start and how to start.
Okay. So that is like since you have content, you feel like you have content, our approaches, even the 5WH approach or spelt approach or Eipsc approach, all those approach will channel you to think in a particular direction. Suppose you feel like you have content but you don't know how to think, so that is when you can use one of these approaches. Okay, you think about what, okay, you know what, but you have to structure it. So you now think about what, then think about why, when, where, how. So if you think about that, you brainstorm those points, and then when writing an essay, you address it one by one. So that all the approaches are basically aimed at showing you how to think, okay, how to channelize your thoughts, how to channelize your content. So that is the whole aspect of having these approaches.
Okay, Shravan, a lot of appreciation from the students. A lot of them are saying thanks a lot for the session. So a lot of them have really benefited from the session, and they are saying, please bring Shravan sir back for some other sessions. So yeah, definitely, since you have shown so much love and support to the session, Shravan, whenever he gets time, he would be back to guide you on a lot of other things as well. So yeah, now the important thing, guys, is just to practice as much. So you should write the essays. Shravan has a lot of sample essays. He has given you, be it the e-learning, be it the CATSA wala topic. So just write sample essays on all those topics and post it in the discuss group, so that there can be peer review and we can all see each other's writing and improve upon it. Any other suggestions, Shravan, that you would like to give them?
Now, I would like them to like my piece of advice, everything I have told you, just follow that and keep writing. And only if you write, you can improve and you measure your performance. Okay, what are the marks you get? How is your marks improving? What is measured can be managed. That is what the famous saying is. So measure your performance and have an a specific notebook on how you have progressed. Okay, note it down and keep writing. So that's my final advice. Okay, I also want to wish to all of the aspirants best of luck. Okay, I hope to see all of you as assistant commandants in the recent future. So all the best. All of you can do well. If I had done well, then anyone can. So that's the final motivation I want to give to you. Then that's all from my side. I hope to see you on another session soon.
Thanks a lot, Sean, for your time. We would love to host you again. So, guys, if you like the session, please don't forget to share the session. All the initiatives of Worthyshala are free, so sharing is caring. Please spread the word. Bye bye. Jai Hind. Thank you, Shravan, for the session.
Jai Hind. Thank you.